Primarily, it was curiosity. I was always very interested in how things worked. One year for Christmas, Santa Claus brought me a book called How Things Work, and it explained everything from how toilets work to how gyros work on cruise ships. I was also curious about what my father did in general, because I grew up at a time where in my household, anywhere where I grew up, gender stereotypes were still very traditional and adhered to very strongly. So I had a lot of access to my mom and what she did on a day-to-day basis, but I had to really seek out opportunities to see what my father did. And I always enjoyed following him around when he was doing jobs around the house and asking him questions about what he was doing and why. I would also go to work with him at times. He was an electrical contractor in New York City, and so I would be able to go to factories where they produced pasta or yogurt or ice cream, and I could see how a manufacturing facility worked, and that was always very interesting to me. I also had an aptitude for math and science, and I did very well in school in that. And then another aspect was financial independence, because I grew up at a time where women were wives and mothers. The women in the neighborhood where I grew up, if they worked, it wasn't a career. None of them had college degrees. And I felt that I wanted to be more financially independent than they were, because they did not have access to their own money. And that was something that I found to be necessary for myself when I became an adult. I love my job because I've worked in many different industries throughout my career. I started working as an electronic engineer, and I worked purely as that, but I did do some computer science, some programming. And then as I started looking for my second job, I found that there were very few jobs in electrical engineering. So I had started my master's in electrical engineering, but switched to computer engineering and decided to make the switch into computer science or programming. My job is fundamentally problem solving, which is what I've always loved to do. I love puzzles. And probably one of the most interesting aspects of my job is that I work with people around the world from different cultures, and I get to go see them from time to time, which I really enjoy. My advice would be to take as many STEM classes as you can. You don't know what will appeal to you, and sometimes you go into something with a preconceived notion about what you might want to do. For example, when I went to school, I thought I would be a chemical engineer. And when I ended up declaring my major sophomore year, I declared as an electrical engineer because I had taken college chemistry and I actually didn't really care for it very much. I think it's important to take computer science or programming classes, no matter what you're planning on studying, because computers are everywhere, programming is everywhere, and it's fundamentally logic, and that will serve you well regardless of what field of study you go into within STEM. You don't have to study computer science in order to make use of programming skills. I would also recommend to get involved in STEM clubs because these can help broaden your mind, especially those clubs or activities that are geared toward girls or women, such as Girls Who Code. I think that's very important, to be with your cohort and learning and supporting each other. And then I would also recommend that you seek out opportunities to do things other than STEM, sports, music, because I've found that when I'm trying to solve a problem, sometimes you can think about it too much, but if you go and do something different, like running or swimming or playing a musical instrument, suddenly you realize that you have the answer to the problem that you're trying to solve. So sometimes it makes sense to use another part of your brain. And keep an open mind, because you never know what life is going to bring you or what opportunities will be presented to you throughout your career. So always continue to learn and keep an open mind. And finally, I want to say that I came across a slogan recently that says, girls compete, women empower. So when you do achieve success, or as you're making your way through your college education process or your career, take the opportunity to help other women and girls who may need that encouragement from somebody who is like them, that just needs that little nudge. I think that's really vitally important for women in the field of STEM.